Welcome back. St. Paul's conversion on the road to Damascus is one of the central stories of Christianity. As Jonathan Hunt discovered, Musab Hassan found Christianity on a narrow cobblestone Jerusalem street.
With his faith in Hamas and Islam shattered by his prison experience, Musab Hassan was a lost soul, but a rare visit here to Jerusalem changed his life. He was approached by a young man, a Christian tourist on the street, who invited him to come and read the Bible. Musab Hassan says that moment changed everything for him, transforming him from an Islamic radical into a Christian soldier, and launching him on a journey that he believes will lead millions of Muslims into what he sees as the light.
This guy just walking the street down the street, inviting people to Bible talk, Bible study. I understood that he is inviting me to something related to Christianity. I accept the invitation. I went there. I started to read the Bible.
And for Musab Hassan, one biblical phrase changed his life.
Love your enemy.
A young man whose father had been arrested multiple times by the Israelis, who had thrown stones at Israeli tanks, who had seen people dying on a daily basis, read, love thine enemy, and that changed your life.
I never heard this before. Nobody taught me this before.
It was a profound moment for Musab Hassan, but not the proverbial thunderclap. Not a call to conversion, more an awakening. For a young man brought up in a deeply spiritual family, strictly Islamic, turning his back on his faith because of one reading of the Bible was simply not possible.
I couldn't move with my Christian faith before I solved my problem with Islam.
So you had to test your religion?
Test my religion in secret, very carefully. Very carefully. It took me a long time to do this.
Restudying Islam?
Restudying Islam from different point of view, not relying on people from the West, not relying on Christians, just relying on myself.
The year was 2000. Musab Hassan was spending many days in these hills around Ramallah, secretly studying the Bible and the Quran side by side. It was a difficult time for a young man struggling with a crisis of faith.
I had like a mental conflict every day. It was an impossible situation.
In studying the Quran, Musab Hassan found what he calls thousands of inconsistencies.
What Muslim sheikhs or religious people do, that they focus on only one part of Islam.
Which part do they focus on?
The part that they need for that time. If it's a war zone, if it's wartime, they're talking about jihad. If it's our relationship to Christianity and we have to coexist with them, live with them in peace, they bring verses talking about peace. If they have to fight Christians, they bring the verses that... So it's like very political religion. And this way, I discovered that the Islam is the most bipolar religion on earth, that you can find whatever you want.
So the Quran contradicts itself?
In so many ways.
Musab Hassan was now finally ready to accept that his future was as a Christian. But given his life up until now, given his father's position in Hamas, that would have to remain a secret, known only to him and a handful of Christian friends. For months that became years, he would walk the hills of the Holy Land, seeking out places to study and pray, secretly and safely.
It's very challenging and it's very dangerous, yes.
I walked those same hills with one of Musab Hassan's Christian friends, a friend who spent many days studying with Musab and who is still too afraid to be identified.
It's the toughest situation that I face through my life, to my Christianity life. So it was safer to go with him and meditate and worship the Lord just secretly, because we know that the tension that has in the religions here in Jerusalem or Ramallah, it's very tough. It's very tough, especially between Muslim and Christian.
For Mossab Hassan, it was increasingly clear he couldn't stay in the land where he was born. He had difficult decisions to make.
Your life would have been easier had you never picked up the Bible.
Of course, just like to stay in my under my drug, the Islam. It's the Islam. You're under the drug. Now I have my own responsibilities, and now I see that this path is the right path.
This is talk that does not deserve a response.
Sheikh Hamid Batawi, the Hamas official and Islamic court judge, says Mossab Hassan's view of Islam is wrong and offensive.
Islam is a true religion with 1.5 billion believers. We challenge the world to find anything that is not right in the Holy Quran. And if Mossab said these things, he maybe was drunk, made so by your people in the US, or he was threatening or was giving dollars and shekels to say this.
But Mossab Hassan stands by his powerful, jarring words.
You've said that Islam is magic. Islam is a drug. The Quran is not the word of God. Those are incredibly incendiary words.
I know that. But it's the truth. It's the truth.
Mossab Hassan, of course, was no stranger to the brutality of Hamas and of radical Islam. He knew that once he spoke out, he'd be a target. He knew, too, that he had to get out of the West Bank, out of the Middle East. His journey to the US when we come back, plus the death sentence that has followed him here.